Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Conquer the Clutter podcast, May the 10th. Wow. Some days, in that winter, this is what I held on for. I don't know whether you feel the same way. But today we're going to talk about something that is absolutely fundamental to making the choices you want and need to make, and overcoming that sense of being stuck, okay? Because it's going to give us the information and ability, and the skills we will build as a result of that, to break down the mystery of why the same thing keeps happening, all right, despite our best efforts. All right, so we're going to be talking about forming the habits we want and need. All right. And we're going to do it by looking at something called the habit loop. All right. Now, in preparation for integrating this information, so it isn't just another hour where information floods by and it's all interesting and yeah, it was important, but it's gone. All right. The parts you need to use just disappear into your day. To integrate this information beyond your brain, it's logged in there somewhere, missing action, into day-to-day's life, yours and mine. Let's take out those papers, and I want you to decide let's start over. All right, there we go. Thank you. Thank you so much. My goodness. Well, Braden can edit that. I'm going to go back. All right, so sorry guys, have to repeat for the library recording. So we're going to talk today about the habit loop. All right, and I want everybody here to integrate this information in a way that you can use it day to day. All right, so we're going to be talking about the habits we want and need to make. Okay, and we're going to start with something called, remember this term, the habit loop. All right, so in preparation for this information just being logged in your brain somewhere, all right, I want you to be able to make it part of integrating it into your day-to-day life. And I know as I delve deeper into this topic and demystify it for myself as well, I know that I'm applying it. So let's do that together. All right. Let's take out your papers and your pens. And I want you to decide, each and every one of you right now, all right, what choice is important enough to you that you would really, truly want to make that choice. But up till now, it's pretty much either been intermittent or it's completely eluded you. I'm going to give you a minute or two just to think of what that choice would be. It's got to be important to you. It's got to be something you really, really want to do, to be able to do. It doesn't necessarily, you're going to practice this, okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to be about clutter. It'd be great if it was. It doesn't have to be about hoarding. What choice would you like to make that is proving really difficult or insurmountable? Ready? Okay. Answer this. What does the terms Q, write this down, Q, trigger. Separate combination, thought / decision. Third grouping, action / consequence. What does that cue, thought, action, or trigger, decision, consequence, what does that mean to you? Anybody have an idea of what that's even talking about? The choice, which forms then a habit, followed by a process, all right, is the key to overcoming and forming that habit. All right. And it happens within our brains. Sorry. It's all about. All right. There's more than one expert who is saying the same thing. And if you reflect on your day-to-day life and the challenges that you're experiencing, I know you're going to see it too. This is not just some psychological babble talk. All right. It's about a 3-step loop. First, there is always, no matter what the situation is, there is always a cue. And that cue is the thing that grabs your attention and then creates a trigger. You're familiar with the term trigger. And I don't mean the horse. Okay. That tells our brain automatically, we don't get a choice here. This is like 1, 2, fast. All right. To go into automatic mode. Cue / trigger, fast forward beyond your ability to control at that stage. All right. You're in automatic mode now. And very quickly, again, just as fast, chooses a habit to use. Cue, trigger, habit. Cue, trigger, habit. All right. Cue can just land in on you. Could be anything. Trigger is what you do with it. Habit is how you respond. All right. So because you're in automatic mode, that cue, again, instantaneously acts like an assessor, followed very, very quickly by either the best or the most often thing your brain defaults to. Choice. So sometimes it can choose the best, but you're more in control if it can. Quite often, it just goes up and chooses what you've habituated, good, bad, or indifferent, because it's happening so quickly. So our brain defaults to always, this is 99.99999% probability, all right? Unless you're in charge of it, you're aware of it. The most frequently used a la habitual option. That's why I've been saying, whatever you do the most, you habituate. And habituate is not an innocent thing. It is, first and foremost, always has the best front seat in the choice you're going to make. But here's where the hope comes in, and your ability to take control. There is always a routine. You may not be aware of it because it can happen so fast when your brain is just choosing that habituated choice you've always made, right? Oh my gosh, I'm going to use an example that I hear all the time. I look at the pile, I get overwhelmed by it, and I wonder what's on Netflix. Or I wonder what, okay, that's what we're talking about here right now. All right. And the more you do that, the more you habituate it, the more power you give it to be default, default, default. Again, in that little tiny gap, very tiny gap, there is always a routine. And that routine we go through. Sometimes we go through it like a speeding bullet. All right. But we can get control at that point if we are awake and aware. Now, that routine that we go through, that automatic routine, can be physical. What do we do bodily, mentally? What do we allow ourselves to think and connect the dots in the direction of? Emotional. What are our feelings? When we add feelings to it, we really have a loaded gun. All right, because now our emotions will affect us physically, will affect us mentally. All right, that's why it's so important to be on alert, to be prepared to catch it at the physical or mental, thinking it, considering it, being aware of it for that instant. It's really important where we catch that. Lastly, this is important because this is the whole reason we form habits. Lastly, there is always a reward of some kind. Now, when you go back to that choice that you would really like to change, that I asked you to write down, I want you to think of the first thing that comes to your mind when you look at it. What could the reward be for you? Now, this can be a reward to do, but this can also be a reward not to do. What does Netflix give you? What does anything else give you? Whatever your automatic response is right now, let's start shining a light on it. What does it give you? Good, bad, or indifferent? Because there is always a reward. The reason there's always a reward is key. The reward helps us to help our brain to figure out if this particular loop that we are involved in, the cue, trigger, thought, decision, action, consequence loop, is actually worth remembering for the future. So the rewards that give us the most relief, the most payback, will be the ones, because your brain is working for you, my brain is working for you, even though sometimes it seems to be on the other side, all right, is always going to choose the most valuable high density reward. Again, an assessment of your brain is in the process, cue, decision, consequence, trigger, decision, thought, consequence, all right? It's always in the process of assessing. What would it be assessing? The worth, the effectiveness, those two things. Which is the bigger reward? And probably based on the success of that choice. It takes me longer to say it than it does for it to happen in our brains. What is this? The chance of success of the reward to actually do what? The reward does not remain if it hasn't actually been successful in satisfying us. The reward, Netflix, a good book, something else, the shopping channel, whatever it is, has to be a high enough value reward that it satisfies the need. All right. And it has to be current. And it has to be a repeat reward, a repeat reward, a repeat reward. It doesn't have to be exactly the same action or exactly the same result, but it has to be in that family of it works. And it works repeatedly over time. Now, over time, this loop, cue, routine, reward, cue, routine. So cue, routine, reward. Cue, routine, reward. All right. Write that one down. Cue, routine, reward, because those are the three seminal elements. But it goes cue, routine, reward, cue, routine, reward, becomes more and more automatic. Can you see when you're changing a habit, how much focus and effort you need to put into it? How consciously aware you need to be to disrupt that. And it becomes so automatic to the point that the cue and reward, they become intertwined. And so what happens when they become intertwined? Until the powerful sense of anticipation, oh, okay, that feeling that lasts a second creates a craving for the reward. That craving for the reward emerges. So Netflix, I'm going to use Netflix. I don't mean to give Netflix a bad name, but Netflix or whatever distraction we use has to be high value, has to be a proven reward over time, becomes automatic, so that when we see something that feels overwhelming or so difficult that we get discouraged or overwhelmed, the craving for relief, comes at us like a truck out of control, a runaway horse, okay? It emerges. And eventually, no matter where you are or what you're doing, a habit is born. All right? So now, that sounds like, gosh, we're climbing up a hill, that has a 90-degree slope. Not so. Habits are not our destiny. We form them, we can unform them. They never disappear, however. All right. Habits can be ignored. If we formed a habit, so we want to be really careful about what we habituate. Don't do it sort of absent-mindedly. All right. They can also be changed. Remember neuroplasticity. The other thing that can happen, which is even more successful and more realistic, really, I think, is they can also be replaced. The reason the discovery of the habit loop is so important is that it tells us the basic truth, which is when a habit emerges, our brain doesn't operate any differently from the brains of all of these subjects that were part of many, many studies. All right. Our brain stops fully participating in decision-making when we have formed a habit. We are now operating on, depending on how strong that habit is, half power, quarter power, infinitesimal power, automatic, depends on what you do the most is what we habituate. Same with me. All right. Same with me. I don't hoard, but I tell you, ice cream is my best friend. I have to avoid it. I have to avoid it. It's like, I don't know. It's just sort of the perfect solution to everything. Sometimes it feels. Our brain stops fully participating in our God-given right to make decisions that give us what we need and want the most. It stops working so hard. Why? Because now it just does it automatically. Or it diverts our focus. Look over here. You don't want to do that work. Look over here. It diverts our focus to other tasks. So unless you deliberately consciously or make yourself aware of the habit and you commit to yourself, you're going to fight this. You're going to fight this habit unless you commit to starting to develop a new routine. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to repeat the pattern and it will unfold automatically as you've gotten really good at it. You know the dance steps. In fact, you don't even need a partner. You know the dance steps so well. All right. Now, I want you to ask yourself right now, how many of your routines, because I've asked myself this question, lead us to where we actually want to go? Can you right now write down 1 or 2 routines? Start with what you do automatically in the morning, first thing. That's where it starts. What's your routine in the morning? How we start. And remember this, when you want to change a behavior, you need to start out as you intend to continue. You need to start out as you intend to continue. And I would respectfully ask you, start out making your outcome, the outcome you want, a priority. Start out with good self-care. Start out by taking the time to get your brain organized, to be on alert for any banana peel routines. Just think of it as you would avoid stepping on a banana peel. Those routines that don't get you where you want to go. And you don't have to be working like a slave. You don't have to be in some kind of military light. You never get to be happy. You never get to be yourself routine. But we do have routines, all right, that are like stepping on a banana peel. How many routines are you aware of that lead us where you want to go? Your homework this week is going to be throughout the week. Don't write it down. I want you to commit it here. This is all you ever carry with you. All your notes and things, they're really neat and everything, and you can go back to them, but you can listen to the podcast. All right, again, if you want to. Let it sink in here. This is what you carry with you. How many of your routines as you go through the week, ask yourself, is this a routine that leads me where I want to go? And then pause. Put yourself on pause. All right. Just look at yesterday as an example and ask yourself, was and is your brain fully enough participating in the decisions and choices you're making? Is your brain fully participating in the decisions and choices you're making? And today, knowing what you're going to learn in this podcast, the information, right? Can you make a stronger? We're not talking perfect. Rome wasn't built in a day. One step at a time, but one step, 1 foot in front of the other. We're not sidestepping. One tiny step in front of where you stand today with this. Can you make a commitment to yourself to use this information to at least observe? Observe is always the first step. The choices and habits that are playing out for you and me unconsciously. Sometimes we're only aware of them at the end. You know, oh, what did I just do or not do? Okay, because those choices aren't just unconscious. All right, the more we do them, the more automatic they become. They become not just choices in our head, they become automatic behaviors in our life. Is that the problem? Is that the problem? All we need to do maybe is deconstruct. They're not going anywhere. Once we formed a habit, our brain logs everything. Our muscles have memory. If your muscles are walk over to the couch, sit down and watch Netflix, all of your muscles are saying, hey, I know what to do. Come on, come on. It's over here. It's over here. And the automatic behaviors, this is the scary part. They become, we do them often enough, they become automatic defaults. We're not even thinking about it. We're not even aware that there was a choice to make. It happens so fast. But anything we create can't necessarily be undone. And it can always, always, always be changed. It can be adapted to work better. Bit by bit, this is all doable. This is not insurmountable. This is not beyond you. If you're here, if you can form this habit, okay, close to 50 people to be here every week, and it's the same people showing up, you can do this. You have formed a habit. You have committed to a habit that allows you the opportunity to interrupt the automatic behavior and to work around the default reaction you have. They can be adapted and they can be replaced, these habits. Remember, habits can be changed. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if it was just that simple? Okay, you just have to understand how habits work alone, and that's enough. No, that's the work for today, understanding how they work, so you can be keeping your eye out for them. It isn't enough. Learning, repeat, repeat, repeat in small, doable, repeated steps that are meaningful for you. And then practice. Practice what you become aware of. The structure of the habit loop then, trigger, decision, consequence, makes it easier to control. Why? Because you're forming a new habit. Because you're giving your brain another choice. And the more you do the adapt, change, alter choice, the more it gets to move to the front of the queue to be chosen by your brain, because your brain is always, my brain is always trying to support the best outcome, but it doesn't think for us. All right. We make it think according to what we do the most. It says, okay, this is what she wants. This is what he wants. This is the most frequent choice. This must be it. This must be it. This must be it. Because it can't think fast enough. It can't assess fast enough to go, no, she got in trouble on that one. No, that didn't work for her. If you repeat it, it is your advocate. It wants to support your choices because it trusts you to be choosing your best outcome. It makes it easier to control once you break a habit into its components. You can change the other parts. You can't necessarily control the cue or the trigger. Those happen in our life, okay? But you can change it for better outcomes. You decide what the better outcome is. But habits never really disappear. Once they're formed, like I said before, they are encoded in your brain, into the structure of our brain. But they can move down the queue. Guess how they move down the queue of choice? They move down the queue of choice in our brain by us substituting an adapted choice often enough that the brain goes, oh, okay, this is what they want. Yep. And that sends you a different message. So the fact that they're encoded in our brain sounds like, oh my heavens, this is enough uphill struggle. Not really. All right. It's encoded in our brain. Our habits are encoded in our brain, is actually a significant advantage to us, because if they weren't, when we wake up every morning, it would be like a baby. We have to make every decision. Everything is a new experience. It would be like only ever living one day at a time. All right. Every day of our life would be like we had to relearn everything, every single thing every day. The problem is that our brain can't tell the difference between bad and good habits. It trusts us. What do they do the most? That must be what they want. You get the message here? You get in the picture. How many people, hands up, how many people get the picture? You are in control. You think your brain's in control. Your brain isn't in control. You're in control. I'm in control. All right. That assessment phase first, that first phase to the habit that we form, is not necessarily a choice. Why? Because if it becomes automatic enough, it becomes a default. You're in control. Put yourself on pause. Interrupt the automatic response. Ask yourself a useful question. All right? The assessment phase of our brain is not necessarily a choice that the brain makes. All right? It's also what's available. And we know and can be available and that we can access in time. That's what your brain is trying to decide. Is that choice available? Well, if you haven't practiced it, it's not available. It's a new invention. All right. It would be like going into your cupboard and you want to wear a shirt, but the shirt is still attached to the pattern. It hasn't actually been cut out and sewn together. All right. You could have a whole cupboard full of those. Are they available to you? No, there's a process you have to go through first to convert it into something you can actually use and just pick off the hanger, put on, and off you go. Got it? Okay, so your brain wants to know, A, was this choice ever made before? How frequent is it? In this circumstance, is it available? Can we access it in time? That's what your brain is assessing, especially if it hasn't been practiced to the point of being a habit. Oh, you know what? We're safer to go with the automatic. We're safer to go with the automatic. We know how to do that. Right? Our most often practiced responses, choices, will always be the first in line. To be repeated, repeat, always. And so if you have unproductive habits and you've done them over and over and over again, you have created a default. Our brain will claim them as a priority and give them to us automatically. All right. So what we do the most, we habituate. I know you're probably sick of hearing that. Just gonna let you know. Okay. All right. So, and what we habituate is always lurking in the background of our brain for an automatic call out. What about me? What about me? What about me? I worked for you. I got you the reward. I got you the reward. Pick me, pick me. All right. It's sort of like picking a team on a baseball team, right? So that automatic call out is waiting for the right cue. Don't. If it has been an unproductive choice in the past, don't give it the cue. Don't give it the cue. Interrupt the process. No matter what wonderful rewards it offers you. We are like puppies, really. Okay. We will do anything for a good enough reward. Every behavior we take with the intention of being rewarded in some way. Once we develop a routine that is part of an avoidant behavior when we know we need productive behavior. Netflix is never going to get you what you want. Nothing wrong with Netflix, but it is a device used as a distraction and avoidant behavior, or whatever else you're using that pulls you off track. And we habituate that cue, all right? The routine, say piles, for instance, we see piles, there's work we have to do, paper. How about paper? Because there's never enough paper in our life, right? We don't even ask for it, and it comes in like leanings over the cliff. Like, where does it all come from? It's probably we have any trees left, frankly. But it comes and comes and comes. We'll use paper or anything else that you specialize in. We habituate the cue of seeing the piles, and it triggers us to discouragement, overwhelmed. We need a routine that breaks it down into doable, tiny chunks. All right. Otherwise, the routine of avoidance will remain. All right. It will remain. It is not, and we will then develop. This is scary. All right. This is the scary part for me. We will develop the reward being escape, because that's the end result of that choice, of that reward we chose. Right now, take a second. Think of something, a routine that you find very difficult, no matter what it is, and ask yourself, what's the reward? What is the reward, good, bad, or indifferent, that routine is offering me? What do I think is at the end of that process, that routine? What is it going to give me? Now, because it's a difficult routine, it's a difficult task, how successful am I in breaking it down into tiny, we're talking tiny, doable chunks? Face the demon. Never walk away from fear. I just don't feel I can do it. I just don't have it in me. It's so confusing. I'm overwhelmed. All right. Take we'll use paper as an example. Take 3 pieces of paper away from the pile, so you're not triggered by the pile. Oh, what does it matter if I do 3? There's 110,000 left. Like, come on, I'm diluting that is the routine you go through. That self-talk is self-defeating. All right. At least if you do 3 at a time, you will be dipping into that pile. What is the reward you're giving yourself if you distract? I'm just going to go on the shopping channel. Okay. I'm just going to go on the I'm only going to look. I'm only going to look. Okay. Oh, what's that? All right. Oh, whoa. It's on sale. Oh, there are only 3 left, and there are 7 people looking at this item right now. What routine? What routine are you following? And how are they working you to their finish line, not your finish line? When you got up in the morning, did you intend to be the winner / loser of winning that contest? They create a contest. All right. Your life is about your agenda, not theirs. They are never going to take you where you want to be. They are always going to take you where they want you to be. Now, sometimes it's a shared ending, but only if in the back of your mind, you had the absolute intent of that item at a great price that day. You see how your routine can change it. Okay. Whatever patterns and habits we formed will remain in our heads always as an option. However, if we make and this is the word I want you to hold on to this week, consciousness. If we make a conscious decision to interrupt that process, that routine, interrupt it. You don't have to know what to do, just interrupt it. Stop the routine, stop the process, stop. Okay, just stop. Do anything. Go outside, sit, let the air hit you. Depending on, go for a walk, distract yourself, do something else. All right, have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, talk to a friend, do something. However, if we make a conscious decision to learn to create new routines, we are helping our brain fast forward those to the front of the line neurologically. That then can become the first choice to choose from. All right, but we can only do it by committing to remaining conscious in our thought. In our thoughts, be aware, be on guard this week. Write them down, journal them, by learning to put ourselves on pause. If each and every one of you here today learn one skill to practice this week, I would ask you to make it to learn to put yourself on pause. Because you are not here today and every Wednesday morning because you want something different than the success you deserve. And it starts with put yourself on pause so that you can be conscious to consider, all right? Conscious to consider and make a considered choice. And gradually, if we repeat that, we make it very difficult for our brain to fast forward to any other habituated default choice. Because it's not choosing, we're choosing. We are choosing. All right. It's like we're sending an email to our brain. Okay, I always do this, put that first in line. Okay, and I'm going to do it so fast, I'm not even going to get to think of, did I have another choice? And how well did that work for me the last 10 times? We don't even go there. You can go there if you put yourself on pause and then distract yourself. All right. Overpower the automatic behavior choices on pause. It's a very, very powerful. And distract yourself. Give yourself something else that is rewarding to you. We can take control of the habit loop. We can force those negative choices, negative tendencies to take a back seat. They're never going to disappear, but we can get them to be in the back seat, all right, into the background once we create a new pattern. We can't stop something. We cannot stop something. We can only replace it. You can't erase a bad habit. It is always there once you form it, but it isn't as powerful. All right. Instead of living in your home with you, you can move it to Timbuktu. Yes, I once knew that pattern. Yes, I once knew that person. Yes, I once knew that, but haven't heard from them in a long time. Okay, we can create a new pattern and it can become our automatic better habit. The habit loop is truly an organic process. All right, it's vital. That habit loop is vital to our existence. It's our whole motivation energy process. And if we didn't have habit loops, okay, cue, reward, cue, reward, cue, reward. The routine. Now, we're going to talk next week about how to deconstruct this 3-part loop, because we're going to learn in a lot more detail how to be aware and conscious. The cue, routine, reward. Remember that trio. Cue, routine, reward. There are other words for it: trigger, behavior, consequence. Okay. cue, routine, reward. Let's use that. Okay, it's as good as anything. The cue doesn't change. Our environment doesn't change. Whatever cues us right now, whatever triggers us right now is always going to be in our world, because it lives in the world. It's part of our world. The reward is always what in our heart of hearts we want and need the most. Okay. So our reward or something equivalent to that reward, the power and effectiveness, the success of that reward to give us what we need in that moment. That's pretty steady too. We are going to learn how to manage and mold the routine. All right, the routine, because that's where we go either deliberate, conscious choice, or we go automatic default. So if we didn't have it, it's not a bad thing. Cue, routine, reward. Our brains would shut down. Why? Because they don't have a process. They don't have a process to help us make decisions. Our brain would be so overwhelmed by the stimulus of the data coming in, the minutia, everything would be as important. How we have lived our lives, the choices and decisions we've made, the things we've habituated, the patterns we've formed, and we've got good patterns too. All right, we just don't happen to be talking about those right now. We've got good patterns to draw on and enhance. We need that cue, routine, reward. Otherwise, everything would be 100% important. And we would not be able to make decisions. All right. So remember, as you're looking out for them, the cue, the trigger can be anything, almost anything, but it is generally something that is meaningful to you. It kind of excites you. It grabs notice and attention. What are some of the cues? We've got 10 minutes. Let's dig a little deeper. What are some of the cues that you need to be on guard for? You want to put them in the chat? Do you want to write them down on your paper and pen? And I will look at the chat and I will incorporate those next week. I know that as soon as spring comes, I have to start driving another route that does not involve a Dairy Queen. All right. It does not involve a Dairy Queen. And you know what? I'm going to get Braden to delete this. Okay, to edit this part out. Dairy Queen isn't really even good ice cream. If you think about it, the chocolate tastes like I don't know, like candlesticks. And the ice cream is like, so what? All right. But the marketing has really created excitement in my brain. And when I go by, I have a new routine. If I have to go by a Dairy Queen, all right. Okay, Wendy's and the Frosties are another one, because my mother used to take us down to Simpson's and we used to have the equivalent of a Frosty. They didn't even know what it was then. All right, as a little treat. Mom, thanks. Little did you know it was going to be replaced in every neighborhood all over the place. Okay. We have the temptations, we have the cues and triggers that we have. You need to change the routine. You need to be aware of them so it's not a mystery, but we need to change the routine in the middle, because I want that reward. And you know what I've decided on? Not going to live without ice cream, but it better be a 10. It better be a 10. All right. And I will only bring it into my environment when I want it to a 10. And the deal will be, it will be in a very small container, or everybody else in the house has to eat the rest of it. All right. While I get used to changing my cue. So anything can be a cue. All right. Visual. Are there any visual cues that you respond to that particularly excite the amygdala in your brain? Any visual cues? What kind of visual cues? Sweets and junk food. I'm with you, Carrie. Especially in the evening. Yeah. Yeah. I keep my two little dogs in my lap because I don't want to disturb them while I'm watching television and I can get up and go to the fridge for something. Yeah, I got it. I got it. And their love and their sort of whatever, the contact means a whole lot more than anything that's in the fridge. So I've identified the power of the reward, but I've given it myself the same reward or better another way. The need for the reward isn't going anywhere. All right, we operate on the reward system. I did say we're like puppies. Yeah, okay, so what is your reward? And what, if any, are the visual cues that you respond to? Like the shopping channel, all right, like the flyers that come in, like the sale flyers that come in, all right, like the markdown sticker on an item. You can have this thing you never thought a bit about, and you can have it for a price but there's only two left. That nobody else, you're going to beat everybody else to the win. All right. Are any of your cues part of convincing you that this item or these items are rare or they're special? And if you have them, that means you're rare and special too. That says something positive about you. Okay. Memo to each and every one of you and myself as well. You're already worthy. There is nothing on the face of this earth that can make you worthier than you were born. We were all born worthy. It's just some of us have had life experiences that didn't support us being able to integrate that into the fiber of our being, that we can remember we're worth more than the temptations that will mislead us. And no one and nothing, there's no one in our life, there is nothing outside of ourselves that can make you any worthier. You're already 100% worthy. All right. And despite our challenges, we don't ever, no matter how we screw up or the faults we have or the mistakes we make or whatever, all right, we don't ever become unworthy. Even on a day when you are 100% in the wrong, unless you have deliberately hurt yourself, deliberately, full consciousness, all right, or deliberately hurt somebody else vindictively, we never lose our worth. We are, on our worst day, we are worthy of being loved, treated with respect, all right, and compassion. That is not necessarily that we are so worthy that we get to make excuses that don't mean we have to take responsibility for what we do. We do. But taking responsibility is not about being blamed. It's about owning it and committing to whoever we have failed, committing to ourselves when we fail ourselves, all right, that we will do better. We will do better in small incremental ways. All right. So we do become disappointed in ourselves by the habits we form. We do become disappointed. That is not the same as losing worth or losing self-respect. It just means you're not perfect. It means you need to be aware. You need to be conscious of whatever the elements are that were part of that situation. Okay. Our habits are just, our habits are not about what makes us good, bad, or indifferent. We don't lose worth. We don't lose respect because of our habits. We don't. They are just the sum total of our regular choices That's what our habits are. They are just the outward manifestation of our regular choices. And we have the power to change the ones that deprive us of remembering our own self-worth. Remember that. We have, you, me, everybody who has a positive intent, all right, we have the power to change the habits that deprive us of remembering our own self-worth. So the next time you screw up in some way, pardon the vernacular, I wish I had a better expression, what I want you to say to yourself instead is, no, I'm worth more than that. I am worth more than that choice or that behavior. No. Not good enough. Not good enough because I'm not good enough. Not good enough because I am worth more than that. I'm better than that. I know it, and now I need to do it. Okay? I will see you next week, and we will deconstruct the parts of changing, reforming habits, replacing habits. But I want you to do some homework, and I want you to think of 5 habits that you want to change. And then I want you to prioritize them, because you can't do 5 things at once. All right? 5 habits you want to change. I'll see you next week, everybody. Take care. Thanks for coming. Oh, and you know what? The video is coming out very soon. Braden and I, the video for the Conquer the Challenges Ugandan adventure is going to be coming out very soon. We're just in the narration phase. And on the 21st of May, I am meeting our Chinese representative on Zoom, and we're going to place the order for 2 complete CPAP systems with, get this, we discovered they have an air compressor and oxygen concentrator. I have no idea what that is, but it's a great thing in place of what automatically came with the machine. And they're going to let us have that for a very little bit extra. Because and guess what? I'm going to tell you this. We may have to edit this out, but I'm going to tell you. I went over to the UPS store very close to us, and I spoke to the owner there, Salim, and I was asking him, I need to start getting a quote on how to get this from China to Africa. Yikes. And he kind of went, how big is it? So I told him, how much does it weigh? I have no idea, but it is less than a cubic meter square. He said, okay, that's a pretty big item. I said, yeah. And then I told him the story about going in and seeing the babies, and they had one machine that they had to share between, like, who would do that? Anyway, he was so moved by our project that he gave us the lowest corporate rate. And then his company, his own unique business, donated $1,000 off the cost of the lowest corporate rate. All right. So if you're going to send anything, support UPS. All right. But it's still $3,700 Canadian. But it was going to be in the double digits. It was going to be in the double digits. Who knew? Anyway, I'm just trusting the universe. I'm just trusting the universe that on the 21st, we're going to place that order, and we're going to get it. And they are so excited at the Windy Community Hospital. They're just about beside themselves. They're all lined up for training, and yeah. So I just wanted to pass that along. We're coming in for a landing on that one. Take care, everybody. See you next week. Bye.
Elaine?
Yeah.
Elaine, sorry to cut in. Hi,
No.
it's Peter. Listen, I want to donate, but when you go down to do an e-transfer and I hit e-transfer, it comes up like an email and this says compose email.
Now, are you in the States?
No, I'm in Peterborough, Ontario.
Okay,
The email, I guess, is below. There's another. The email is. I can hardly read it. I guess it's in full below that. I'm not sure. I can put it into my contact list and do it that way. Maybe that's it.
yeah,
Maybe
so to keep it simple for clients and to be able to remember it, we have two emails. Do the Elaine.Birchall@hoarding.ca. That's the easiest one to remember. The other one you may be getting populated there is Hoard. If you need a Gmail account, do you have a pen handy? If for some reason you need a Gmail account, which is why we did this, but I would have made it a different title for the Gmail account. I had no idea it was going to be so required.
Go ahead, Elaine. That's great.
Okay,
Thanks.
it's hoarding, HOARDING, help, HELP, all one word. Elaine Birchall, again, this is all one word, @gmail.com.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hoarding help Elaine Birchall @gmail.com.
Okay, great.
That
Okay,
would be great. Thank
hoarding
you.
help
Every
Elaine
little
Birchall
bit counts.
@gmail.com. Okay.
I just posted the link for the donate too in
Oh,
the chat.
thank you.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
So if
Thank
you can stay up for a second, then he can just click on the link too.
Okay,
Okay, that's great. Okay. That's great.
you're hired, Kim.
I'll volunteer anytime you need help.
have a
You
sense
can
of
reach out to
system.
me.
I know. You have a sense of
used-
system that I.
I'm an office manager, but I used to be an administrative assistant,
oh my
so
God,
I
that's
have the
great.
skills.
Okay.
So is it in, okay, so it's in, now I'm in the car, so I'm gonna go home and do this, so I guess, because I'm on data right now, so I'll go home and do it. I can
That's
do that.
okay,
right?
not a problem.
Sure, okay. So hoarding help Elaine Birchall @gmail.com.
Right, that's one and the other's the other. Yeah, and they should both work, but who knows?
Okay,
I
great.
put-
Okay,
I put the two emails in the chat, Elaine. Did I get them right? This is Ashla Pot speaking.
let me just see.
Um,
I can see it. Okay.
Because you might be able to just take a screenshot. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
geez.
Galaxy Tab A8 is saying. You could do a screenshot, or even you might be able to copy and paste it. I don't know what kind of phone you're on. You might be able to cut and paste those links.
I'm not that good with the
I
with
know.
the
I'm
technology.
with
That's
you,
the
Peter.
Yeah,
problem.
take
I
cameras
went
up.
into social work for a reason. Yeah.
But Elaine, did I get those two right?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
Elaine
Are those the
Elaine.
correct
Birchall.
email addresses in the
Hold on,
chat?
I need to just find the checkbox. Where is it?
I think, yeah. So Elaine Birchall @hoarding.
Elaine.Birchall @hoarding.ca.
Oh, I see it. Okay. That's one. And then the other one, yeah, hoarding help Elaine Birchall @gmail.com.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, can I
Great.
pull that up when we're done today? Can I pull that back up in the chat? How do I get to the chat again? Can I do it?
You can.
Oh,
You
no.
can. You can pull up those two links now on your phone, though.
How can I
The
do
hoarding
that?
CA and you don't know how to do a screenshot? What kind of phone are you on?
I'm on an Android, a Galaxy.
Okay. I don't know which Android, but you should be able to click the volume and power on button to take a
Okay.
screenshot.
Okay, where is, okay.
If you see
Are you
the
on a
three
Galaxy?
Oh,
little,
yeah, it's at the same time. Okay.
if you see
Yeah.
the three little dots at the bottom, you can click it and it gives you the option to save chat. It becomes a text.
Nope, not on a phone. Not on a
No?
phone.
No.
Only on a laptop or tablet.
Okay. Elaine, when I tried an e-transfer in Canada, it wanted a security password that we had to agree to offline. So I ended
That's
up
everybody.
donating with another method. So
Is that Peter,
Um,
by the way? One other thing you could do is try tapping on the comment in the chat and see if it gives you an opportunity to copy it. Then you could save it, like in a message or something later.
Or Peter, you know what? You have our office number.
I don't think I've got it. No.
I
But,
can
you know,
show you a quick trick. This is a
Isn't it awful
Samsung.
technology?
You just go like this. You take your hand like this, full hand, and swipe it across your screen like that, and it'll take a screenshot.
Okay, I'm gonna try it.
Karate chop from left to right, and it'll take a screenshot of what's on your screen. I learned that from my 10-year-old.
I wonder if it did. Okay, oh my God.
Is that not the coolest thing?
I wonder if-
It's not working though, for me.
It's for Samsungs, for Android.
I have a Samsung Galaxy S22 or
I can show you
S9.
offline, Esther. It's super cool.
Okay.
I
But
think I got it.
Elaine, I
just
wouldn't
put it
mind,
up there.
do you want to give the phone number, Elaine? Is that what you were trying to do?
Yeah,
the office?
613
Oh, yeah, let me grab.
Let me just.
Yeah.
613
492
492.
0700.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Don't wait, 492 0700.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Right. I have the same thing. I'm wanting to save the chat and I'm going to figure out how to do it. I know somebody that works for Zoom and we just need to all empower each other with the technological stuff.
I
So we
know.
could get to the important shit. like helping each other, but we do need the technological tools. And I'm empowering myself to use them so I could declutter also. But thanks, Elaine, so much.
Some of us have to empower ourselves to ask the questions because we sound like
I don't know.
complete knobs. And I'm okay with
Yeah,
that. You know what?
congratulations about the keypads.
You have to choose
I
what
put
you're
a
good
couple of
at.
things. I responded to something in the chat, but I also put that you Byrne, who has a book, and I put it in the chat. I can't remember the name. I think it's called The Here and Now Habit. When you were speaking, it really reminded me of him. He's one of my favorite mindfulness.
Thing is,
practitioners.
when you've got good science that you're working from, good ideas keep popping up. And so basically the same information with maybe different titles. Nobody invented this. This is science driven and authors are accessing that science and then interpreting it. So there may be many
He's
sources.
80 something, and this is just the mindfulness and meditation point. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I put the links in the chat for his free stuff on Insight Timer, and also the link to the book, which has a deep description of how he uses self-compassion and other techniques. It's just building upon everything that you were saying,
Yeah,
and it just resonated with me.
I have to
And
run now though,
Tim-
because I have to
Okay,
be somewhere for 12:30. Take
All
care,
right.
everybody. I'll see you next
Thanks,
week.
Elaine.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Elaine. Take care. Take care.
Bye.